Oh, Zoom. We never know. We never know what Zoom's going to do, but all I know is now we are live with Emily Lazar. Welcome to Inspo Radio. I'm so excited to introduce
Hey,
Bobby, my co-host. Chico
what
Bay
up?
is probably en route to somewhere in Asia. She's like so jet set. Like, sometimes she's going to make it in. She wanted to try and make it in because she loves Emily. I sort of leaked a track to her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I need to be here." But she's literally on a plane, unfortunately, right now. And so
Yeah, she sends all her love. She did. We were messaging all day. She was like,
Aw.
just let her know that I wish I was there, but I literally, there's no way I could be, but I want to be there. And so just wanted to make sure you knew that because she's
That's,
fantastic.
yeah, that's sweet.
and we're doing this from a worldwide perspective, and so we have people from all over the world as hosts and sort of in our audience. And so the chance to introduce somebody like yourself, I think, is special because I grew a fan of yours just by the way that you spoke on these spaces. You have been in the Web3 space for a minute. I mean, like, talk us through again. You're quickly just sort of your journey into Web3, and but you seem to get really super aggressive on spaces, because that's my first connection to you
Wait,
was
super
just like,
aggressive. That's not positive.
no, it's super positive, because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is somebody who's
You're a
speaking their
bitch
mind.
on spaces, so I liked you. Okay, that says a lot about your personality right there.
Well, I love,
I,
I love, I love the fact that you are aggressively supporting other artists, and you're aggressively defending the right to exist as an artist and get paid as an artist. And artist rights
yes.
in those conversations struck me as like, wow, this person lives the life. And when I saw your work, I was super blown away. And we'll talk more about Dirty on Sound XYZ dropping now, and Pixie Girl and all that. But Web3, like, what was the thing that got you interested about expressing yourself through Web3 as an artist?
I mean, the pandemic. We
Love
couldn't
it.
tour. Like, I didn't have any money.
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't like, oh, this endeavor of art. No, bitch, I had to make some fucking cash. Like, I gotta eat, like it's very expensive looking this cheap. So, like, yeah, no, but in all seriousness,
But see, that's
um,
the thing, the humor and, like, your presence, struck me just as a human being, as an artist, before I even heard the music. And I think that that's the lovely part of you. And I'm glad, we're able to talk to you, through this medium, because it's like, it's so exciting to see the levels of you as an artist, because, we're talking to you and talking about process and whatnot, and, like, being poor and, like, being self-deprecating. But then, like, as you add on the layers of artistry, which we'll show later on, we're actually going to do a bit of a different format today, just because of tech issues. So I wanted to, chat with you, and then we're going to go into some of the visual first. Dirty on Sound XYZ we'll listen to, and then we'll get a little sort of peek at your live show, because it really struck me as just this world that you create on the stage, and in that presence. And so, and I know that that's purposeful. Like, you wanted to create this other world. What's the thing that you want to create for your audience?
yeah, I mean, so just to go back to the question before,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like, it was because of the pandemic. I wasn't even joking about that. Like, honestly, we're a touring rock band. And if you know anything about the music business, you know that if you're not on tour as a rock band, you're not making money. So, like, pandemic hit, nobody was touring. People were getting fired left and right out of crews and like things like that. Like, I mean, there was just there was no way to make money. You can't rely on Spotify. I mean, like 0.003 cents per stream. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, how are you going to support a band of 5 people and a whole crew and techs, and like, you just can't. So, like, you need to be on tour. So for us, it was just kind of like, okay, what else can I do that can bring in income? And I mean, I started the band, it's world building. Like, it's a transmedia
Mhm.
project. It's not just a band, right? So, like, it starts with a character and a storyline and comic books and this whole thing, right? So it's not just relying on one form of income. It's relying on like many different streams of income. And I did that on purpose because I saw the music industry going into the fucking toilet. So I was like, okay, well, I got to do something that counteracts that as an artist. I've got to do something that can pay for my band and pay for the people that I love so that they can continue to do this with me. So how am I going to do that? Well, I need to make an immersive experience rather than just a band. And that's what I did. And that's how I set out to make it, and brought me to Web3 because, we couldn't tour, and NFTs were the this is transmedia. This is storytelling at its finest. So telling story on different mediums, NFTs just became another medium where I could tell the story.
Yep. That's exactly it. The multi-hyphenate aspect is I think what Web3 is best served by, is having people with, different types of visions that engage, and as you said, in a transmedia way, where you're leveraging IRLs, you're leveraging, music and NFTs and sort of the machinations of a mint. And then, the benefits of a mint, like with Pixie Girls available on OpenSea right now. If you mint that, you also get certain, benefits. And I think one of them is getting to, if you go to a show in IRL, you get to do a VIP meet and greet, right?
Yep, you get a VIP meet and greet for free. You also get 20% off at our merch table, like IRL. And you also get a 30-minute Zoom call with me. We can talk about whatever you want. We can, talk about NFTs. We can talk about life. We can talk about writing. We can talk about music. We can talk about comic books, like anything you guys want.
What is the number one thing that people talk to you about when they do those calls?
A lot of times I get a lot of people that are doing projects, NFT projects, that want me to like weigh in on like what they're doing and how they should go about doing it. And, or maybe people that like want to start platforms that aren't sure if it's going to work, or this, that, the other, or how they get more musicians involved, or, so they want me to weigh in on a lot of things that they're doing personally, like, and creating and developing, which I love. I love doing that. So,
Yeah, it feels like you really have a pulse on understanding how to break out of the mold. I think getting to talk to all these kinds of people, getting to travel and meet other people while you're on tour, like that's provided you a lot of experience in life, I'm sure, which you're now kind of translating to this world building, if you will, which I think is so cool, like transmedia. And just in general, like storytelling through different mediums is such a cool part of NFTs, and what's really brought me into it. So it's really cool to hear about your journey, and your experience with it as well has been so enlightening and inspiring as well, which is good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love world building. I don't like the world we live in, so I wanted to build my own, and that's kind of what I did. Which is why I feel more comfortable on stage than I do like sitting here on my couch right now. Like, it's just because I control.
That's the world you've made. That's the world you feel most comfortable in.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable there. So yeah.
Love it.
In that world of creation, and I get that sense from a lot of creators, being able to build the world around you, it feels comforting. You get to, work with the people you want to work with, and create the experiences that you want to create. And the stage presence to me is, and we'll show this again later, is so phenomenal. You went through this process of developing the band September Morning, and then you created this character. What was the inspiration for the character? I think is so interesting to me.
Yeah, so September Morning started with something horrible. It started with the death of like my closest friend / lover / person I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. We were young when we met. We were like 19, 20. He died when he was 23 going on 24. And it was because of drugs. And I was the one person I was the catalyst to get him clean when he was 20, and he was sober for 3 years until he wasn't. And he went home for a funeral of his friend who died of an overdose, and he ended up doing the same thing. And so because that happened, it happened in September a while back, and from that experience, I like kept on asking the question. I was like, why do all the good people die young and all of the, crappy people live like long lives? Like what is going on? And like how, I just wanted to answer that question. So I wrote a story about it, about a Reaper human hybrid that could take souls and that died too young and put them in other people's bodies and give them a second chance at life, because that's what I wanted to do for my friend, but I couldn't do it. But now I can do it in the world that I created. And so I answered my own question through my transmedia project. And every time I step on stage, I think about him. And every
Wow.
time I do anything about this project, I think about him. The bigger it gets, the more I think about him. And it's like this huge homage to the best person I've ever met in my life, which is pretty cool. So
And that character adds layers, it seems, of of armor, and is this the character that you wrote in the comic books first, or did you create the stage presence and then that became an extension of it?
no, no, no. It all started with the character. It started with that question and then the character. And then I developed the look of the character based off of like a bunch of different things: Japanese warriors, Grecian warriors,
Mhm.
lobsters. I'm not even kidding. And,
Awesome.
a lot of different Valkyries of like, lore and stuff like that. So it was a culmination of a lot of different looks. The lobster thing is because of the armor and the way it's
Right.
plated.
Okay.
Because the armor has to be plated a certain way, and we didn't know how to do it so that I could bend my legs with the knees and stuff. So I was sitting at a Red Lobster or some sort of seafood restaurant, and I was looking at the lobster tank, and I saw the lobster tails, and they move like that, they go back and forth like that. And they're all plated a certain way so that they can bend and move, but they have these hard shells. And I was like, so I took a video of the lobster bending its tail, and I was like, this is what we need to do with our boot. This is
Amazing.
how we got to make it like this. And my friend was like, it's fucking genius. And
It makes so much sense.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm really high and you're really high and that's how we connect, but whatever. And then I ate the lobster, but yes.
We took his skin and used it in the show and developed this character.
I took his soul. No, just kidding.
But and then you created the character, and then was the original expression musically the metal, the sort of the hard rock metal edge in that expression of that character?
Yeah, it was hard rock metal from the jump. And it was a little bit more electronic sounding in the beginning of it all. It had a little bit more electronic, and then it kind of like laid back on that when we got signed, and then we went full force back into it now. So it's like we just ebb and flow with the electronics, but it more or less just kind of, creationism like takes a turn. You never know where it's gonna go. But it's always hard rock metal. I have a lot of anger, so I like to express it in a musical sense. So yeah. But yeah.
And it comes across, and I think that's the thing, is like the level of expression, and I can't wait to get to the stage part and the sort of the performance aspect, because this is where like, I hear this often about you, is just like, and especially it's true for me, like, I'm not a huge fan of metal, but I love Emily Lazar. There's something about your performance level. No, really, truly your performance level, and where you take the music is so emotional, and you create this whole production around everything. It's an experience. It really is, and it's so interesting to see that being shared across this transmedia project. Where do you guys see this, in 5 years? Is it still kind of growing as an IRL thing, or is it more into something that's a bit more transmedia?
I mean, I see a lot of things happening with it. I don't like talking about what I want to do too much, because I don't like putting it out there until I do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, I need to get it done. But I have a lot of ways of expanding the IP. Let's just say that. And some of it's IRL, like performance related, and some of it is other media related. And I've been working on those two different things for a while now. And so hopefully in the next year or two, all of that's going to culminate into something really large. And I just want that storyline to be out there. I think it's such an important storyline, second chances. It's not even second chances. It's like, learning from your failures, learning from your mistakes, learning from everything in life, and not taking it, lots, like I've been through a lot of shit in my life. So like, it's like, and from a very young age, I left home when I was 12. So like, it's like, I've been through a lot of shit. So like, if I can make it through everything that I've made it through, you know what I'm saying? And come out the other end and probably be a better human for it, then I think that there's something to be said about that. And I want people to know that you can make it through too. Like,
Yeah, and you
it's
want to
not,
inspire others to to see that in themselves, to latch on to that hope.
And also use those really painful parts of yourself for really great shit. Like September Morning would have never been born if my friend did not die. Like, I hate saying that, but it's true. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. Like, I would be doing something else, you know? It would be a different story. It would be a different character. And that was a really crappy time for me. I didn't like, it was horrible. But out of that pain and out of like those like days of not being able to get out of bed, and out of those like, you know, out of that frustration and out of that anger came something fucking beautiful, you know, that has touched so many other lives than just one person, you know. And you know, I have people that have my lyrics tattooed on them. I have people that have my face tattooed on them, which is really weird. But like, I have people that, you know, like say that my music saved them, you know, from whatever. And if you can use negativity and turn it around and let it be the fuel to enforce and provide more positivity in your life, then you're winning, you know. And I think that's super, super important.
There's such a grit and a discipline to your approach as an artist. Where does that come from for you?
I was a ballerina since I was like 3 years old. And if you know anything about ballet, like, you know that it's not for the weak of heart. Like, it's like the amount of work that goes into being a ballet dancer is ridiculous. The work ethic is so instilled in you. I mean, I was like I remember when I was professional, when I joined a company at a very early age. And when I was professional, I would wake up at 6 a.m. I would run for an hour. I would do an hour of working out at the gym. Then I would go to the Pilates studio. I would do 45 minutes of Pilates work. Then I would go into my first dance class, and I would warm up and do my dance class. I hadn't even started my day yet after 2 hours.
That's just the warm up.
That was the warm up. Yeah. And then I would do a whole bar, like whole class. And then we would have 8 hours of rehearsal. So I was from 6 a.m. till like 10 p.m. at night, physical activity all day, every day, except for like Sundays. And if I had like some downtime and not rehearsing, I would take another class. I would do more Pilates. Wow. I would work on my own in a studio and just go through routines or go.
So the work ethic is there.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And I was practicing 32 fouettes like for 4 hours with my feet bleeding in my point shoes. Like you don't know, like, you know, it's like people are like, oh, I'm working so hard. And I'm like, bitch, you don't know work. That is not.
I traded like so much Pepe today with my mouth.
Oh yeah,
no, you know, that's not work.
You don't understand. You don't know. Like, you don't know. You do not know. So like for me, that was instilled at such a young age. And then when I left home so young, it was like I had to make it, and I had to work hard because there was no not working hard. So it's just in me. It's never going to leave me. You know.
And that's what I love about the output that you're doing currently in Web3. You're an artist, and you're allowing people to see, you know, so much of the process, and you talk a lot about the process, and, you know, you're just being an artist sort of on multiple stages in the transmedia, but also being present in all the different medias, I think is so challenging time-wise, but you're doing it in such an amazing way. And, Dirty on Sound XYZ just happens to be one of the tracks. I mean, you have so many great tracks that I was just like trying to choose with you. I'm like, ooh, how about this one? And you're like, well, there's this one. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this one. There's so many great tracks that you guys are just constantly churning out. And then of course you have the Pixie Girl project on OpenSea, which is currently minting, and is a series. Each one just kind of comes, and then the next one comes, right?
Yeah, I do them like once a month. I'll put out a new Pixie Girl. I got to do one for this month, but yeah, they're all kind of like really fun. Like I did a September one of September Morning, Pixie Girl, and that one was linked to our next album that we're going to drop at the end of the year.
Nice.
And yeah, and so that one you get an actual physical album, and your name is on the liner notes. So like we sold 25 of those, and everybody gets a thank you on the liner notes. It's going to be cool. Yeah, so we try to involve our fans as much as we can, you know.
And that's what a great time to collect an artist is at that time. And I hope this is just the beginning of a great conversation with you, Emily. I think we're big fans here, and we'll listen to the music after we leave now. But I just wanted to thank you again, and please do come back. When at the end of the year when the album is dropping, and we'd love to support you because
absolutely
big fan.
Yeah, would love to. You guys are great. So thank you.
Awesome.
and
Thank you again.
thanks for being here, and
Emily
thanks
Lazar.
for sharing.
Yay.
Emily Lazar, September Morning, Dirty, now on Sound XYZ, Pixie Girl on OpenSea. We'll have the links down below, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Emily.
Bye.